Once upon a time, in a quaint little village nestled at the edge of a deep, dark forest, lived two siblings named Hansel and Gretel. They were known far and wide for their boundless curiosity and kind hearts. One sunny morning, Hansel and Gretel's mother handed them each a basket filled with sandwiches and said, "Children, go play in the meadow, but remember not to wander too far into the woods." With the promise to be careful, Hansel and Gretel skipped into the meadow. But the meadow's charm soon faded, and their adventurous spirits led them toward the forest's mysterious depths. As they ventured deeper, the trees grew taller and the shadows darker. Hansel tried to mark the path with breadcrumbs, but the mischievous birds gobbled them up. Lost and scared, the siblings walked for hours until they stumbled upon a clearing. In the center of the clearing stood a cottage made entirely of candy. The walls were covered in chocolate, the roof was adorned with gumdrops, and the windows were made of clear sugar glass. Their eyes widened in astonishment. Hansel couldn't resist. He broke off a piece of the candy wall and tasted it. "It's delicious," he exclaimed. Gretel was more cautious, saying, "Hansel, we shouldn't take from someone else's home." Just then, a sweet voice called out from behind the cottage. "Hello, dear children." "Who are you?" Startled, Hansel and Gretel turned to see a kind old woman with a warm smile. She introduced herself as Mrs. Candyheart and invited them inside her cottage. Once inside, Mrs. Candyheart explained that she was a lonely old woman who loved to bake sweet treats but had no one to share them with. She offered Hansel and Gretel cookies, cakes, and candies of all sorts. Hansel and Gretel couldn't resist the temptation. They enjoyed the delicious treats until they were full, and their hearts were warmed by Mrs. Candyheart's kindness. However, as the day turned into evening, Hansel and Gretel realized they needed to return home. Mrs. Candyheart pointed them in the right direction but gave them a small bag of candy to take with them. As they walked through the forest, the siblings shared their adventure. Hansel said, "Mrs. Candyheart was so kind to us, and her candy was amazing." Gretel agreed, "Yes, but we must remember to listen to our mother and not stray too far from home." When they finally reached their village, they found their mother waiting anxiously. She hugged them tightly and scolded them for wandering into the forest. As Hansel and Gretel settled back into their home, they shared their candy with the entire village, spreading sweetness and joy. They never forgot their adventure with Mrs. Candyheart and the lesson they learned about kindness and responsibility, and so, Hansel and Gretel lived happily ever after, with hearts full of gratitude and a deeper understanding of the world beyond their meadow.